So you're at Mutual of Omaha.
Yeah.
Or you're working for Mutual of Omaha for their ads.
Yeah. So I was at Bozell for 3 years, and again, I wasn't thinking, gee, I can do this better.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out, I could do this better. And so I quit in 1983. Pat Ervin was working with me at Bozell. I said, Pat, I'm going to go out on my own. Do you want to go with me? I thought he would say no, but he said yes. So we both quit. We had no idea what we were doing. And we got a small office in Shaker Place. It was about $180 a month.
That's insane
and it was
puts
big.
It in perspective. Yeah.
It was big. It had 4 rooms. It had 4 rooms. It was really big. We didn't have enough furniture to even use it all.
Yeah.
And
so you said Pat Ervin?
Pat Ervin.
Is he the co-founder as well then of Ervin?
He's the co-founder.
Okay.
His father was Frank Ervin, who was highly regarded associate creative director at Bozell. Did the Mutual of Omaha logos and the Methodist logos and a lot of other corporate ID around town. No longer living. Pat is the oldest of 10 kids. 7 are in the graphic arts area, designers, photographers, dress designer, etc., cartoonists.
Oh, fun.
It's an amazing family. And in fact, the ad club locally did a night just about the Ervins because they're so accomplished. And we started out, and literally I had calculated, to give you exact numbers, I had calculated we needed to gross $75,000 a year to pay our salaries, which is what we were making at Bozell. I gave Pat a raise. And pay our rent and pay something for equipment, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Did
you have a business plan at least?
That was it. That was the business plan. We need to gross
$75,000. We need $75,000.
And so then I figured, well, we're charging $50 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not big on overly complicated plans. We're charging $50 an hour, so we need to each bill 3 hours a day to break even at $75,000, and we'll be very happy we'll be making the same money. So very quickly we were billing each 8 hours a day. So I thought, man, we're doing well. We did well right away.
Sure. How, may I ask? Do you remember how you landed your very first customer?
We didn't have a non-compete with Bozell.
Mm.
You know, because we're
We'll leave it at that.
We're creatives who
Yeah.
creative. We don't fear creatives going out on their own. We fear account people. So we went out on our own, and we right away we picked up an account that Bozell was called Swanson Corporation. Then it's been absorbed into bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But we picked them up because Bozell said, hey, you're not big enough for us, but here's 2 guys that just started. They might be just right for you. So we picked them up day 3.
Amazing.
Yeah, the 3rd day.
That's very generous. I mean, that shows a lot about Bozell's character, obviously back then, like you said, but just that they were willing to throw you a bone, even though you just left them.
Well, what I found out later is everybody at Bozell thought these guys are going to last about 2 weeks. And it's so sad because Pat has all those kids. Nobody gave a damn about me. Pat has all those kids. And Bozell actually gave us work. Our ex-boss, Dick Sullivan, great man. He gave us work, and this sound corny, but Pat had created a character called Gus Gas for MUD.
Okay.
And they used him everywhere. If you'd go to a gas appliance dealer, Gus Gas was there. He had a personality.
Was it like a smoke or?
He was like a flame. He was a
Okay.
flame, and he was just a fun character that somehow made gas dryers more interesting. Anyway,
as interesting as they can be.
Yeah. So we got some money, much needed money from doing that. Eventually, Bozell got a little less generous because we started to do well. And rightfully so. People will help you out at the very beginning, but then it sort of
trickles off.
Yeah, but I'll just tell this story straight up. We had done a lot of work for First Bank Card. First Bank Card at one time was one of the 10 largest credit card issuers in the world.
First Bank.
First National Bank's credit card. It's called First Bank Card, and we had done a lot of work for them at Bozell. And So I went to Diane Cassart, who was my contact there, and said, she talked to her, we were out on our own, and she said, well, what is it that you want from me? And I said, well, Diane, what I want you to do is stop working with Bozell entirely and do all your business with us. So that's really asking for the order.
Yeah.
And I'm not very good at that.
Shooting it straight.
And she said, okay, well, there was a rule the bank had to work with Bozell. Still kind of in place. So she went and talked to her boss, and he said, well, since this is direct mail and so forth, maybe we can get away with this.
Different side.
Yeah, exactly. So we were hired to do their work, and I mean, they were a major concern. Yeah, I mean, they were issuing millions of Visa and MasterCards. They were a charter developer member of the Visa board back when it was Bank AmeriCard.
Okay.
And that goes back to John Lordson, who is Bruce Lordson's father, late father. He was early visionary, I think, with credit cards. And
Lordson Gardens named after them?
After, the Lordson family.
Right.
And credit cards were very lucrative then, and it was a very well-run business. There was an executive there, I like to talk about him because I think he was so brilliant. Jim Doody was his name, no longer living. And
Jim what?
Jim Doody, D-O-O-D-Y.
Okay.
And I just think he had such a brilliant mind for credit cards. And, there's two sides to it, marketing it, but then making sure people pay their bills and making sure you don't get too much bad debt. And why are credit cards so expensive? Because so many people stiff the credit card companies.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a high-risk loan. And it's a loan without any backing. You don't put up collateral or anything. You just
it's not like a car where you put money down.
Yeah, it's just faith.
That's a good point.
But we grew substantially with them, and we did ended up doing a lot of work for First National otherwise, and then we picked up another account, Lincoln Benefit Life, through a friend, Fred Colanino. He had been at Bozell, and he picked up this great account down in Lincoln. It was at that. I'm trying to think. It was originally a burial insurance company. So
okay, for life insurance.
Salespeople went door to door and said, if so and so dies, it's going to cost you $1,500. How are you going to pay for it?
$1,500. Now it's $15,000.
And that was a business at one time, and people would literally pay.
People still do that.
They'd pay a quarter a week, or quarter. The sales guy would actually go by and get the quarter, door to door.
How inefficient.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, Sears at one time had this grandiose notion of you could go to Sears and shop, and you could get stocks and bonds and.
At Sears?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was not a good idea.
Clearly. Well,
but
nothing about Sears was a good idea, obviously.
They bought Dean Witter, which was a kind of a Merrill Lynch type.
Okay.
And you could go in, and there was a Dean Witter branch in your local Sears. And anyway, the idea didn't work, but Dean Witter, for whatever reason, happened to own Lincoln Benefit Life, so it came along with the package.
Got it.
And they also, Sears had a deal, or bought Allstate, so you could get life insurance, car insurance, etc.
They did?
Yeah.
Huh.
So when Allstate was spun off, Lincoln Benefit went with them because it was insurance.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you just landed a couple lucky clients kind of out the gate.
Some luck.
Huh.